On the 529th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. Today, there is interesting news from Vuhledar front, where it is reported that Ukrainians are attempting to encircle the Russian forces inside Urozhaine. As reported by Russian and Ukrainian sources, Ukrainian units are making efforts to surround Russians by crossing the small river of Mokryali from the west in the direction of Staromayorsk. Today, in the early hours of the morning, Russian sources reported that Ukrainian forces carried out a series of attacks northeast of the village, and at the same time, they advanced from the west in the direction of Staromayorsk, trying to cross the river with infantry and armored units. Some Russian sources said that despite losing some armored vehicles, the Ukrainian infantry forces managed to enter the forest belts along the eastern river bank. One of the Russian telegram channels that reports from on-the-ground sources inside Urozhaine confirmed that the Ukrainian soldiers managed to cross the small river and now they are trying to attack Russian positions inside the village. It is not yet known if Ukrainian forces continue to have a presence on the eastern bank of the river, but it is clear that Ukrainian forces have now begun a new phase of operations aiming to completely encircle the village from the western and eastern directions. About 30 kilometers to the east, on Vuhledar front, Ukrainian forces continue to put pressure on the Russian positions inside Mikilsk. For the moment, the attacks are mainly carried out by drones and artillery, but small-scale clashes were reported in the areas northwest of the city. Ukrainian forces are being activated in other areas of this front as the recently formed 38th Marine Brigade of the Ukrainian army shelled the Russian positions inside the tree lines near Shevchenko, which shows that the Ukrainian forces are now operating in a wider front and not only in the Vuhledar-Mikilsk line. On Kupyansk front, heavy fighting was reported northeast of the city of Kupyansk in the direction of Sinkivka and east of Petropavlivka. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine announced that the Ukrainian forces stopped all the Russian attacks north of Sinkivka and in the areas east of Petropavlivka, but without specifying at what distance the battles are taking place east of this town. Until now, the front line has been stable about 8 kilometers east of the town, but an advance of the Russian forces in the areas between Petropavlivka and Vilshana is not excluded, although at the moment this cannot be confirmed. In the central part of the front, some pro-Ukrainian sources acknowledge the advance of the Russian forces in Novoiehorivka, while about 20 kilometers south of the front line, pro-Ukrainian sources confirmed through geolocated footage the advance of Ukrainian forces south of Novoiehorivka, where the Ukrainian army stopped an attempt of the Russian forces to advance in this area coming from the direction of Karmazinivka. The Ukrainian army continued to attack key points of the Russian supply network in Crimea. This time, the targets of the Ukrainian attacks were the bridges of Chongar and Henichesk, both very important structures for the supply of the Russian troops in the southern fronts of Zaporizhzhia and Kherson. From pictures published on the internet, it seems that both bridges suffered significant damage as the continuous attacks on them slows down and complicates the supply of the Russian troops on the southern fronts. As confirmed by Russian and Ukrainian sources, both attacks were carried out using the Storm Shadow missiles or their French SCALP AG variant. Ukrainian sources confirmed that Ukraine has recently received these powerful cruise missiles from France and that the French modified variant has a range of up to 290 kilometers. Ukrainian President Zelensky appeared today signing one of the missiles while visiting members of the Ukrainian Air Forces on the Ukrainian Air Force Day. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and have a great day.